Okay. Well, I'm live. Figured out I'm here, I think. So should be live at least just on YouTube. I didn't go anywhere else with it today. I haven't been back on since the 27th was the last time I did one of these, June 27th. Since then I did a pretty cool segment with Bob Miller and team, an IR game. Got to join in on the majority of that before I had to fly out. So that was cool. Had another one of those just nightmare, nightmare flights. I don't know if that's two back to backs, but we had two more flights since the 27th. In fact, they were on the 27th after that. And it was interesting because the first one had a small error, but we got there a little bit early, so it got made up for. And the second one, this was one of those scenarios where the airline made a cost decision and said, nope, they're going to take this one, not the other one. We had initially tracked, and Kat and I do this all the time. I don't know if you do it or not. Flighty makes this a lot easier if you're just doing it on Flighty or something like that. But it tells you like where your plane's coming from. The plane you are going to be getting on at the next stop, where's that plane coming from? So you can kind of look at the logistics of, is that plane going to make it on time? Is there going to be any other thing, as a problem from that? And anyway, so we were doing that, and the first plane was coming in from DFW, meeting us where we were going. And then it suddenly shifted to be coming from Boston and had arrived 4 hours earlier and had a maintenance problem. So we went from having a plane that did in fact land in time, but landed in moved to another gate. We went from whatever gate it was to 17 to 25, 25 to 17, 17 to 25 a few times. They kept pushing it back, kept saying that the plane's going to be worked on, it'll be up and running, but it was not our first plane. It was whatever plane we took from some poor suckers that would have gotten it, and instead now got a flight that took off. Could have easily probably tracked that tail number and figured it out, or at least gone from that flight to the next one, but you kind of lose its history once the plane was gone. So anyway, so that was one of those things. Ended up getting in at like 1 a.m. or 1:15 a.m. So it was too late for any of the kids to pick us up. So we ended up just taking another Uber. So I added another Uber. But that's really it. Like most of my week since then has been pretty boring, at least from a numbers and stats perspective. I'm at 57 flights now. Kat and I are. We're at 71 nights. There wasn't another night because we were wrapping up that day and flying home. So we didn't end up staying in a hotel that night. 69 ride shares, 5 trips, 44 cities, 109 now presentations that I've done this year, and 36 hours of direct education content. A lot of people ask me when I'm teaching my next class on CIS. I have not scheduled it. I will probably through August and September. I have a lot of downtime, so I just need to get that done, and I do plan on getting that scheduled. So if anybody's been waiting on that class, it's going to come here soon. So I will have some more hours to add. I think that's another 3, 6, 9 hours, I think is what it is. It adds. Maybe it's 12 hours or whatever it adds in that class. 12 would make sense just based on the math of 36 that I've done so far. So that checks out. So I got home that weekend was the 28th. I had no downtime because I had like a film crew following me around here at the house. I can't say what that project was for, but it was definitely interesting because I try to keep it pretty OPSEC of where I live. I try to not bring people in the house. In fact, I don't know if you noticed, but back there on my here, I'll go back to me real quick. They were going to be filming in the studio, and so like I had to redact my name on my certificates and things because I didn't want that shown. Things of that nature. Won't say as to why. I suppose that was silly of me to talk about. But anyways, the point being is so I had to do a lot of stuff to prepare for that. And it was really cool. I really, really enjoyed spending time with those guys. And it was really neat because they filmed me and the dog riding on the motorcycle, Kat and I and the dog, and my dad riding on bicycles, doing shots where we wouldn't necessarily capture something that's OSINTable very easily, something that could be just used in that footage. But I guess I'm making the assumption y'all can hear me. See, I don't know if anybody's in chat or not right now, but anyways, I'm gonna make the assumption you can hear me. It looks like I got a green light, so maybe you can, maybe you can't. Let me know if you can't hear me, I suppose. But anyways, so they filmed us Saturday and Sunday. Saturday was kind of like a scoping day, although they did film. I don't drive, so for most of y'all that don't know that, I don't traditionally drive. Kat drives for the most part. It's mainly due to like there's certain conditions where I don't drive well. Maybe people would argue all of them, but when it's dark, super dark, or when it's super bright. When it's super dark, getting hit in the eye with the eyes that point in 2 different directions is really a challenge because then I get like flash banged in my left eye hole or right eye hole. Thanks, Darren. Great to see you, buddy. And so I get like flash banged in one of the eyes invariably. So I just don't like to drive. So Kat drives almost everywhere. Kat's driven thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of miles for our life over the years. But I do have a fun for me car that I do drive, which is my Subaru WRX that I bought. It's nothing as cool as Darren Cirillo's car collection, but I have my one fun for me car. It's a blast. I feel like I'm 12. Anyway, so we went out and drove the one curvy road near where I live. And I did that. They filmed it with a gimbal, filmed me driving it. That was a blast. I also learned that if you put another like 300, 400, 500 pounds of humans in gear in a car, it really has less, this changed traction. Let's just say it has changed traction. Anyways. And so, yeah, that was fun. I did get to get it loose a little bit, which is a blast. I had fun with that. Okay. So anyway, so they did that. And then the next day we did all filming. I recorded a show with a friend while they were here filming, trying to get some behind the scenes in the studio and what I do. So that was a blast. I'm really enjoying that, and that'll come out sometime later this year, what that's about and what it's for. But anyway, so that was the end of the 28th and that weekend, and then began like the 4th of July week, right? Which is interesting because I had the opportunity to just literally not block out my schedule with stuff, and I got to do logistics. I think this is the first time that I have more than 10 weeks of flights planned at any given moment. Like I've already bought the flights. I already got the flights. I don't know that I have all the hotels, but I got most of it, right? I have at least the flights done and booked and taken care of. And I never get that much time. So I think I spent 4 hours on logistics last week, just getting logistics done, registering for this conference, replying to this person about the webinar. I think Jason Slagle's been waiting for an abstract of the talk I'm doing on the 26th or something for him, 24th or something of July that I'm doing for him for forever. Got those out. I got like 6 abstracts out for talks. I got my first working session. I'm doing a fun talk. I'm doing a fun talk with Eric Stevens. He is kind of our think tank for AI and deep AI researcher at PAX8. Love the guy, love his brain. He's just a wonderful human. And so I invited him to do a talk with me that I got accepted at Wild West Hackin' Fest called Giving Swords to Our Future AI Overlords. And it's really talking about MCP abuse and the extensibility and rapid adoption of AI and LLMs across our world and agents. And then now connecting them to APIs to do stuff, physical stuff, move stuff, make stuff, kill stuff, destroy stuff, build stuff. Right. And the challenges that might present and what that looks like. And so we've been doing a lot of research, and I got our first working session for that talk. A lot of people don't realize, like, if you're going to do in my opinion, if I'm going to do an effective talk about something that is tangential to my understanding or even in my wheelhouse, probably going to put like 40 to 60 hours in that talk, in that prep for that talk, not just making the presentation, but like just prep. Like what we've been doing this whole time is sending each other articles back and forth about examples where MCP has gone wrong, about examples. And we ended up having to build we end up having a fun time building an AI kill chain, right? Talking about the parts that need to happen to abuse certain AI systems and kind of commonalities of that. I'm sure somebody else has done some of this work as well, but it is fairly nascent. And so we started building an AI kill chain and what that looked like and how that was different than the traditional Lockheed Martin kill chain or other things that are malware centric, right? And what that looked like. So just that kind of work that goes into that talk. And we ended up spending about 2 hours doing that last week. And then I was off on Wednesday. I just took some comp time, I guess, if you will. Thursday, I had two live streams and a pre-recorded live stream that was being released that I recorded on Sunday. So that was those 3 live streams done. And I guess 2 live streams. Ironically, let's just words matter, right? So 1 live stream with myself and a guy named Evgeny about asset management. I know, surprise, that would be something I'd want to talk about with Discern Security. And then a recorded thing with Jeffrey Newton and Matt Topper and just a whole bunch of folks in that one. And then that and Roddy Bergeron, who else was in it? I don't want to short anybody, but anyways, there's a few of us in there. And then that's going to be released at some point. And at the same time, I released a live stream that was technically a pre-recorded stream, right? So I released a stream that was already pre-recorded, but it was live at the time, I suppose. So anyways, just to be very specific. So 3 total of those. That's what went into the 3 of the 4 presentations that existed on that. There was one other one that was on the week before. And then largely I just rode my bicycle. And so one of the things I wanted to talk about today is like health and its effect on your well-being and sense of self. And I started tracking with an Aura fitness ring sometime before January in preparation for my 75 hard that Kat and I do every year. And I now have a data set of 7 months, give or take, of my sleep patterns, my sleep habits, how effective my sleep is, at least in their whatever broken algorithm, right? It could be really effective and accurate, or it could not be. I don't know, but at least the data points they're tracking: HRV, heart rate variation, what your lowest heart rate was, what your how less movement you had, right? Trying to detect when you're in REM sleep, those kind of things. And I noticed a distinct pattern while the Hard 75 happened. If I got up in the morning and exercised 45 minutes, and then sometime later in the day exercised 45 minutes, one being indoor, one being outdoor, and I didn't drink alcohol, and I went to sleep at a reasonable time, my kind of resilience, which is a number that Aura tries to track and Garmin tries to track, my resilience, like how effective and my recovery will be and how much more resilient I am to the things I do every day, what my stress levels look like, all those things got better and better and better over time, got to, basically midsection level of good. And then as you stop doing those things, you very rapidly plateau and fall off from that point. Like in my data set, it went from, it took 3 months to get there and it took a month to fall off to a point where it was so useless, it was nothing. Right. So you just watching that physiological change. So from a physiological tracking perspective, how well my heart recovers, what my lowest heart rate is, how well I sleep, how much I sleep, how much of the time that I am asleep, I'm asleep, all those things get empirically better when you're exercising and not drinking. That said, and I believe that as humans, myself included, in that subset category, of course, we just forget how you feel when you get to exercising like that, right? And then you just don't. I mean, you can say it to yourself right now as we're talking about it, but like if you're just going through your day and getting up and not thinking about it, and you haven't exercised every day, you definitely feel it. Like you feel it emotionally, you feel it physically, you feel it, physiologically, to the point that I was discussing from the numbers in heart rate and recovery and all those things. And it's interesting because even managing a couple of those factors, like I'm still having beers right now, and I'm not in a hard and 75. I'm having a few drinks every evening or so. And even by just exercising twice, because Kat and I are now exercising at least once a day, every day, and twice a day some days, you get some value that continues to add. So I'm still now watching those grow just from exercising, just literally getting up at 6 a.m. and going and walking the dogs 2 miles, which is about 4,500 or so steps of your day, right? Give or take. You can get an effect out of that. And so I know, so like, yeah, okay, John Madden, great Madden tips. But for real, like if you just get up and exercise every day in some low capacity, doesn't even have to be like go run, like Matt Topper runs every day, I think. It doesn't have to be lifting, although lifting I think is a value in general. But I just walk or lift every day at least once. And if you can do it twice, I think you'll be a lot happier in life. I think it's that simple. I think that my dad says, we're born to move, and I'm inspired by my dad. Like my dad, and the reason he was in that video as well, is my dad put 11,500 miles or something on his bicycle in 2 years. I bought him an e-bike, and he goes out and uses it, and he exercises every day. He's 70 and he's still able to go ride a 50, 60-mile day, no problem, and not even exhaust his battery, right? So he's not even using the battery for most of it. So, and he's also very predictable, very normalized in the way his brain functions. Anyways, I know I'm just spouting the realizations, but I am taking this vlog series and will ultimately do some LLM work with it and just take a state of mental capacitance, I suppose, through it. But anyways, short story is exercise good. Like continued exercise, great. You don't stop exercising. Darren Cirillo, you're on here listening to this. You got a dang foot desk, right? You sit and walk at your desk, right? Or a treadmill desk that you can stand on and walk as you work throughout the day. And it's that kind of stuff where it's like, you just don't realize how important that is until you stop doing it. Also, I guess just for the fun of it, since it was a holiday, I have to at least demonstrate that I did go take my traditional holiday wounds. I did not blow off any fingers from fireworks, but I did get into a bicycle wreck. I learned that if one is sweaty and using suntan lotion on your arm and decide that it's a fun time to ride into one of those little signs that are on the side of the road that have like little flag banners that tell you, sail here or whatever. If you ride your bicycle into it intentionally, thinking that it will like slide off you and you look cool coming through a flag, you are mistaken. It will grab your arm and will slap you to the ground mercilessly and make fun of you as you lay there bleeding. So, yes. Yeah. And Darren said, I'd be dead if I didn't. I imagine talking about being on the treadmill and exercising, right? And, the way you eat, right? You eat whatever you want to eat whenever you want to, and yet you stay in shape and, you stay able to move. And so I think it's that simple. I mean, I'm not saying go eat anything you want to eat in general. I just mean, I think it's as simple as keeping the body realizing we need to move and not be sedentary. And so I'm making a real conscientious approach to continue that trend and continue monitoring the data, which is one of the things that for me does work. I don't know what works for you, but for me, if I'm watching data sets or if I'm watching the impact of some change or some modification of a policy process or whatever it may be, the being sucked into the data keeps me sucked into the change, right? Like, for example, I drink, a gallon of water every day, a gallon of sparkling water, I guess specifically. I like carbonated water. It's a terrible, terrible trait, but I drink a gallon of water a day. And that started 3 years ago during my hard 75 when you had to do a gallon of water a day. And now the pattern just sticks. I fill this up at the very least 4 times a day. This is just under a liter. So it's just shy of a gallon when you get to 4 of them. But I think, right? Somebody correct me if I'm an idiot in the comments, but 4 liters is less than a gallon, right? Am I wrong? I'm about to find out. 4 liters less than or more than a gallon. It'll just do the math for me. Why didn't I just ask how much is 4 liters in gallons? That would be the easiest way. 4 liters in gallons. See, I'm an idiot. It's okay. I still like me. 1.05. So yeah, it's over a gallon. Okay. Yeah. 4 of these a day. It gets me over the gallon. And I just haven't never stopped. Now it's just some of those things that you start. But anyways, how do you start a habit and then continue it kind of permanently? For me, I've found in my whole life, it's always been exercise, stop exercising, exercise, stop exercising, exercise, stop exercising. And I've watched that pattern happen in so many of my friends, right? Like I've gotten them started bicycling and they just haven't stuck with it. Or they haven't continued to do those exercise patterns. And a lot of us have done that. We're going to start a boxing membership and you just don't go boxing, or start a gym membership and you just don't go to the gym, or right. And there's nothing as simple as just going out and walking. I guess I can share this on here. I don't know if I've shared it publicly before, but I think I'm down 130 pounds or so from when I was my largest. I think it was a size 54 waist. I carried my belt for the longest time as I started losing the weight. And I would just punch another hole in this nice, thick leather belt that it had to be that thick to support my fat ass at the time. But I punched holes in this thick leather belt and I kept it until it was wrapped around me once. I was down to a 42 or something from that. And they were just sticking off the side 12 inches or so. And Kat's no, that's got to go. But anyways, that started by getting in the habit of walking and getting in the habit of eating more healthy and getting in the habit of bicycling actually is really what did it at the time. And so I think I've fairly well continued those patterns and habits. The other thing is, again, the reward structure and patterns and things move me. I think I'm now 737 days into, or 757 days, I think, into, I don't even know. Golly, I'm probably way off, but I don't want to lose my streak. But on my Duolingo, I'm at whatever that is. I guess you're just learning how bad I am. I'm not very smart. It's okay. I still like me. But Duolingo now I'm at 977 days in a row of doing Duolingo every day for 3 minutes, right? It's just getting in those patterns. And so for me, it's about tracking the streak and not wanting to lose the streak. It's kind of one of those things as well. So typically what gets tracked gets done. But then ultimately, sometimes you get to where I don't track this, but I can tell you every day if I went back and looked, I've drank more than 4 of these. Number of reasons. At home, when I'm home, I have 4 of I have 4 bottles, 4 liters, and they can be filled. So if those have to be cycled out in the day, I know that I've drank my 4. But then when I'm on the road, I will purposefully buy a gallon a day worth of water to drink so that I can, and I know that's probably pretty wasteful, but so that I know that I'm drinking my gallon of water. Yeah. And I did do that here at home until I got a machine to do it. And that made it a lot easier. Did not expect to ramble for 20 minutes on drinking water. But anyways, here I find myself. So what are some of the lessons learned? I also got to talk with the person and at least learn a little more context of where we found ourselves from last week's episode about the person that says that, and I realize now it's a bit hyperbolized, but the person says I'm useless. I don't know what I'm talking about, those kind of things. We got to talk through that a bit. He still feels that some of the things I believe in are fundamentally wrong, which I think that's okay. I mean, it's okay. We don't have to always agree on things. That's life. That's the way it should be, in my opinion. But at least we got to talk about it a bit more and decide that I guess we're going to work. I mean, I don't know. I'm a nothing compared to this human. But anyways, it was one of those things where some of the ways it was interpreted weren't intended. I did get a heartfelt apology for that. I do believe that human is genuine. I don't think he's disingenuous in any way. So I think, all things considered, we're good. I guess principally the 2 things that are a difference is I just don't know that I believe I can help all nor is it my place. I guess the editorial sense of can be helped, like all MSPs, from being prepared for the threats and the changes in our world. And I'm in a belief that we're really heading towards a cliff. I mean, I've been talking about that and writing about it in books for now a little while, that we're really heading towards a point where it's an inflection point. Just like Scott Chasen said about the agentic inflection point, I think we're in an inflection point of what it means to be a service provider. I think you just can't do it forever and have impact on people's lives and have no response from that. And I think he interpreted that to me saying they should die. It's not what I mean. I just believe they will. It doesn't mean that I don't try. It doesn't mean that we shouldn't help and reach out our hands and give education and empowerment and all the things that need to be given. It simply means that I just don't feel like everybody makes it. I just don't think that we have to cater to the ones that don't want to make it, in my opinion. But I think he believes in saving everyone. I don't hate him for that. I love it. As a matter of fact, I guess we just got really at odds at my belief that they won't all make it. So that was one of the things that stood out. The other thing that stood out is, I think, to that end, then the next steps have to be the next steps, right? I think to that person, the next step would be bringing it down and down and down into simple instructions for people to take. But I just simply believe at some point people should have their own kind of life in their hands and step forward themselves and take those things and work down frameworks and work towards implementing safeguards over and over and better. And then I guess the other thing that kind of stood out is, and I do this a lot, is make declarative statements that have nuance and edge, but they will drive conversation. And I think in this case with us, it did. I think, a declarative statement of I've done this before was taken as me saying that I've hyperbolistically taken everything to its final end and security can never be accomplished. Not true. Security can't ever be accomplished. It's not something that's done, nor is operations or logistics or managing HR or payroll or any of the other things out there. They all have continued operations that must be done in order to continue to meet excellence and continue to succeed as a company. So that interpretation, unfortunately, was taken in a way that I guess offended this individual. And it wasn't my intent. I just was simply saying I've been through this. I'm not asking MSPs to do anything I haven't done. And I don't even mean that to be aggrandizing. That's not my intention. And I guess that's the other thing he takes, is that I act like I know it all and I speak like I know it all. I don't know. I don't know it all. I've thought about a lot of things, and when I do tend to open my mouth, I've thought about them quite a bit. And I've had a lot of experience in them, or else I ask questions rather than speak. But I get it. And he said it's his perception, and he's right. Well, I think that's unfair as a categorization of me. I feel like that is his perception, and therefore it is accurate to his understanding and opinion. But I don't know. I feel like I'm definitely strong-willed. I believe what I believe. I do make statements to make effect. I think that's an effective methodology sometimes to drive conversation. But I don't know that I act like I know it all, or if I do, I don't want to. I certainly don't. I'm one of the more curious humans you'll ever meet. So I don't know. Anyways, it's where we find ourselves. I don't know that it's better. I don't know that it's worse. I still think he's probably one of the better security people. The things he says are accurate. The things he's mad about, I agree with. So I don't understand it. Great example is like, I don't think things should be done at all unless they're going to be done and monitored and managed and be able to be tracked. And it's like, fuck yes. These are all the things that make me happy in my wee little heart. Yes, 100% fucking accurate. And also following the definition of the things I'm talking about in my prior organization. So yeah, I got you. And so it's an interesting, weird place to be in. I don't know, but whatever. I guess I also didn't expect to sit here and pine on about this either. But yeah, vlog done. Vlog episode 18. Again, why am I doing these? I just kind of want to have a place to reflect. That it's a cool little recording that people can view and realize they really hate me and don't want to follow me, or if they do like, then great, tie in and follow me. It's great. But they're also mostly for me. I want to go back and reflect on them. I think there's some really cool data projects can be done with LLMs, looking back over the history of a vlog like this as well. So I guess then it's important to say we love our LLM overlords, and that talk I'm giving is purely hypothetical. Anyways, I kid. All right, y'all. Appreciate you. What do I have coming up? I'm about to leave in 2 days to go. Oh my God. Yeah, talk about fear here. I didn't have this much fear when I presented at RSA. I'll close with this. I am presenting in Erie, Pennsylvania next week. Erie, Pennsylvania, or this week, Wednesday. I fly there, and Thursday I present. And I'm presenting an hour before Jen Easterly presents. And the presentation I have has a lot of Jen Easterly in it. So it's going to be very interesting giving a presentation about the secure by design, secure by default initiatives and what they mean, what they have long term, and talk about and quote the person that's going to be keynoting as they close it out, that I have a whole lot of respect for as a methodology and a strategist around how we solve this national security problem that is cybersecurity. But anyways, that's going to be a blast. So fly there, get that done this week, and I'll tell you all about it next week with my next vlog. So thanks for being here, and good to see you. And Darren, thank you for always chatting and let me know you're here. We need to go find that Chinese restaurant again and go pig out next time I'm in town. See y'all.